Guys, welcome to session 4 of the Academy. As always, if you are brave enough to have your cameras on, I know that Adam will probably appreciate the visual feedback. I've already told him you guys are a pretty engaging bunch and like to chat, so no pressure, but please feel free to contribute. Just a reminder that we have the Q&A function as well as the chat box that you can use if you want to ask anything anonymously, or you can raise your hand so that you can ask a question through that means as well. I'll let Adam do bulk of his own introduction, but suffice to say that this is going to be a pretty exciting session that I'm particularly looking forward to. Adam's expertise extends far past just simply creating content and social marketing media as it was, but more he will delve into the strategy around how to build out your brand and use these specific tools to increase your membership with your gym. So I will hand over to him now. But as always, just a reminder that if we can save any specific Q&A to the end, that way I can chop it out of the uploaded portion, that would be great. And it's just, of course, to respect your privacy as business owners and confidentiality. Yeah, Zach, no, the dress code wasn't to put a shirt on, so you're fine. Thanks, guys. Adam, I'll give it over to you.
Great. I'll just share my screen. I just need to pick which one is actually the correct one, and I'll jump straight into it. Okay, there we go. Everyone can see that. Cool. So I guess before we get stuck in, I'll just give you a quick introduction. I talk a little bit about myself at the start. So I'm Adam Barbaro. I work with businesses to basically increase their profitability and increase their lead generation. And I work a lot in the health and fitness industry. And basically what I do is work around brand and marketing systems to actually really help a business implement ways that are actually going to give them long-term growth and profitability, rather than just focusing on little short-term tactics that sort of tend to cost a lot of money and time and don't really inevitably work as soon as these little traits wear off in the market, which they often do very quickly. So these are basically the basic systems for lead generation that you should be implementing, particularly in gyms, to really not only ensure that you have a constant stream of customers coming in, that you're also able to increase the longevity of those customers and increase the profitability per customer. So they're obviously important little factors and metrics around making sure that you're getting the most out of your gym. At any stage, if you want to jump in with a question, please do, because if there's little nuances that you want to know about different areas of things that I'm talking about, just jump straight in and ask me the question. I'm more than happy to answer them. So topics of conversation, a little bit about me. We'll start off with, I'll talk about the funnels. I'll talk about really what they are. People call these sales pipelines. There's lots of different names. I'll talk about why they're important, what you need to do, and how you need to actually implement them into your business. We'll talk about a profit ladder, which is a little thing that I like to talk about, which is a way of basically making it easier for customers to come into your business, as well as making them more profitable. And then I'll give you some really quick little examples of what that actually might look like in terms of implementation into your gym or into your facility, so you're actually able to implement it practically. So quick thing about me, I was actually raised in Canberra, uni, joined the army for a bit before actually leaving. I knew I wanted to work for myself, and what I sort of fell into based on, I guess, my experience with uni was doing a lot of web design and content and marketing. And I guess out of a passion for working in health and fitness, in the health and fitness industry, and just, going to working out and eating healthy and all that sort of stuff, it's sort of the industry that I guess sort of got pushed towards naturally, because it's just an interest of mine, as I'm assuming it is most of yours, and that's why same reason why you got into it. I work basically as a strategic marketing and brand consultant, which basically means I come into a business, provide clarity on who their customers are, and making sure that you're not just being too generic, and that's why you're missing out. And the end goal of this is to basically help them achieve growth and increase their profit. So some of the customers I work with, obviously groups like, again, Faster and Fitbox, and also now the fastest growing franchise in the world, which is Fitstop, brands like Nutrition Warehouse, and a lot of other, I guess, non-health and fitness related customers. And that's sort of what keeps me busy around the country. Great. So let's get stuck into it. My goal here is not to make this as boring, but I want it to be sort of, interesting. And so that's what I'm going for. So help me out here. And if you have any questions that are actually relevant, ask them, because that means you're going to get more out of it, and engagement's always good. So before we actually get into the things around funnels and profit ladders, I wanted to basically give you some, I guess, some macro oversight of really about marketing and brands, and how you need to start really thinking about these things to get the most out of your marketing. And it's the reason I wanted to bring this up is because it's basically the opposite of what most people think about when they think about marketing. Now, with marketing, there's something to know, which is there are no right answers. And most marketers won't tell you that. Most marketers will be like, oh, you should be running Facebook ads, or you should be doing this. And the truth is, marketing is a game of testing. It's about understanding who you're working with. It's trying to get in the mind of your specific customer. And it's having the experience and knowledge behind that to make that process quicker. But if you don't have that, there's still no guaranteed answer. It's about using your knowledge and experience to implementing that into an industry and into a business to get there quicker. Anyone that wants to come to you and give you a solution straight away, they knock on your door, they send you an email, they get in contact and they say, hey, you should be running Facebook ads. Be very wary of them straight away. That's my personal opinion, and that's probably my opinion from experience, for the simple fact that any good marketer should diagnose why you need that to begin with. Any good marketer or anyone that you're sort of working to, even around video and content, should be asking you, what are your problems and where are your goals? And then we need to come up with a solution to get there. So anyone that tries to give you an answer without asking you questions and finding out what the problem is in your business is trying to sell you what they want to sell you, rather than actually find out what your specific business is actually needing. So, and this is the process that you should be looking for people that want to sort of do something along this, which is diagnose the situation, diagnose your situation, then give you a solution, and then don't go full ball into it, but actually start small, test it out until you can actually get some really good results. And then once you're getting results of that, then you can reapply it and really scale it. And that's how you hear about these businesses that are, spending X amount and getting huge growth in their business and huge amount of profitability. That basically comes from the fact that they've followed this sequence. They've found a real problem. They've come up with a solution that works specifically for that business. And they've started small and tested. Any good marketer will start small and test before they actually go big. As I'm sort of basically talking about, it's an iterative process with knowledge and experience makes it quicker. But regardless of whether you're the most experienced marketer in the world or it's your first day, at the end of the day, it's still an iterative process. You still have to find the right things before you go full bolt into it. And then my final thing is that people get distracted quite easily with, new fancy tactics like Facebook ads and things like that. So I like to use an acronym, which is FOCUS, and I know I've just seen Jess's TikTok and Instagram pages. So I know she puts a lot of work into it. And therefore, she's a great example of someone who I'm sure didn't see any overnight traction by starting to post online. What she did is focus. And the focus for me basically means follow one course until successful. If you focus on something with marketing, you get long-term results. If you try to get short-term wins, what end up happening is you occasionally get a win, but it costs you a lot of money, and more frequently than not, it ends up failing. So if there's one piece of advice before I can get into this, is focus. Follow one course until successful. It could be months, it could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years. But see what's happening, see where your users are, what's good for your users, and focus on doing that long term. Finally, this is my pyramid of how you should be focusing, which is you should have a strong brand foundation. You should have something to say. It should be different to what everyone else is doing. If you're too busy focusing on what your competitors are doing next door and trying to copy them, you're doing yourself a disservice, because all you're doing is basically saying, I'm the same as my competition, and your customer has no reason to pick you over them. Once you've actually thought about who you are and why you do what you do, getting a good strategy, start thinking about who your customers are and where they are and how they actually, want to interact with you. Once you've got a good strategy, then we can talk about what we're going to talk about here, which is setting up funnels to make sure that the process is automated and systemized as possible, so you don't have to sit there making sure that people are just flowing through. And then you can start looking at things like content and Facebook ads and Google ads, etc. And that's the system that will really get it working for you both in the long term and short term. As I was just talking about, it's the opposite of what most people think about. I started doing videography and photography for businesses and a lot in the health and fitness industry. And always the first thing that a business wanted was, hey, we want a new video. And my common answer around that is, great, but what's a video actually going to do for your business? Just because your competitor's doing a video, what's it going to do for your business? How many Instagram followers do you have? 2,000? Great. How many of those organically are going to see your video? 100? So you're telling me you've spent $3,000 on a video for 100 views of people that probably already are your members, and that's why it's popping up in their feed, because they interact with you the most. So what you've done is achieve nothing. And that's why we need to flip the whole thing, start looking at brand and strategy and funnels, and then get to that stage of creating things like content stuff, because that's where you're actually going to get the return of investment, not by just jumping into running some Facebook ads and hoping that you're giving the right message towards people that will make you some money. So I really wanted to get this out there because it's important. The last thing is branding versus marketing. Branding is not a logo. It's the why behind your business. It's the thing that, if something went really bad and you wanted to keep running your business, it's why you want to do that. Branding is long-term. Branding defines the future of your business. It's where you're actually heading. Branding builds loyalty with people, creates value. Marketing is basically the next step, which is after you know why, then you start thinking about how. You start implementing to get short and medium-term wins. It defines your tactics. So as now we're moving up into the funnel area and we're starting to talk about content, and actually marketing is the thing that actually gets a response from people. Branding is the thinking behind it. And then the marketing is the thing that actually makes people go, oh, I want to go work with these people because they're speaking my language. They're solving my problem. Marketing extracts the value. Cool. So that's the thing I wanted to get into before we really jumped in. There's some basics there which most businesses don't implement. And even just by taking that into consideration, you're going to be much better off with how you conduct your marketing than those who don't. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a system for growth. The idea of having a system for growth is it reduces the amount of time you need to put into it and therefore reduces the amount of cost. You have to always think about your time as a cost to the business as well as the actual expenses that you're spending on any systems or any photographers or any Facebook ads, etc., that you're putting in. Once you set up a system, it's a repeatable process that you can use for lead generation. It's something that you can turn on and people are going to be seeing it. You can see the data about how many people are coming in, and it's something that is repeatable in the sense that you could walk away from the business and the lead generation won't stop. And that's the only way to truly know that you've got a marketing system set up, is to make sure that if you weren't there, if you went away for 2 weeks on holidays, you'd still have people leaving leads via your website. You'd still have people contacting you on whether it's social media or on your website, etc. Next is, the numbers. And I sort of mentioned these at the start. It's your cost per acquisition. How much does it actually cost you in time and cost in terms of getting someone to become a member at your facility? Knowing that number basically gives you the ability to understand how much you're able to spend in order to attract, which is essential to know how you're going to grow. Because if you don't know how much you can spend and you're just thinking, I'm just going to run Facebook ads, well, you don't know how much it's actually costing you, and therefore you've got no way of actually reducing that number to make yourself more profitable. And it's really simple numbers once you've actually worked them out. The next one is average order value, which stands for how much is each of your members actually spending with you. So most of them are probably right now just sitting and spending a monthly membership fee. By making a small increase into your average order value, how much each member is spending to you, you're able to significantly increase the amount of obviously profit and revenue that then you're generating per customer. So that's the next number that we want to really focus on in order to get better growth and better overall profitability. The third one is obviously lifetime value, which is how long is your average member staying with you. The average for most gyms is most facilities before pre-COVID were experiencing 100% retention issue, which means every 12 months they were basically having a whole new set of members come through. And that might be surprising to you because you have members that stick around for years, but you have constant stream of these new members that come in and out. And that costs you because you're spending time attracting them and you're spending effort attracting them, but they're only staying a short period of time. So if we can increase the length of how long they're actually staying a member, that's the third metric in how we're actually going to grow and scale our fitness business. And the final thing is really understanding the market. It's understanding whether it's a service-based market or it's a price-sensitive market. That changes in and out. So at the moment, we're not too price-sensitive. The reason we know this is because there's still a huge number of people looking at 24-hour gyms and a huge number of people in functional facilities that are spending a lot more money. If the market was really price sensitive, everyone would be in the 24-hour gyms. So you know it's a service-based industry at the moment. Okay, so how do we actually systemize growth? We use what's commonly referred to as a marketing funnel. Once you've set up a marketing funnel correctly, again, it's a system that you test and you change and you adapt as you go, but that's how you actually create a system of growth that you're actually going to make money with. This is what a marketing funnel is. It's just a funnel. It's a way of getting more people at the top of your funnel and funneling them down to actually become members. The top of the funnel is when you're generating awareness, which basically means people are seeing you on social media, Jess. All your social media is doing is generating awareness. It's creating people that didn't know you were around in that area beforehand. They've seen you. They're now aware of who you are. Once they've become aware of who you are, you use your content and other means to basically build interest. And this is a very practical thing. You can think about how you operate with businesses. You become aware of who they are. You see what they're actually doing, which builds interest. Then decide to actually come in and work with your facility. Finally, they decide to make that action, make that step, whether it's contact you, whether it's give you a call, etc. Once they've actually made action, that's your ability to make the sale, convert them, and turn them into members. So that's basically what a marketing funnel is. And that's what we try to do in order to make it more systemized. I prefer thinking of it a different way because I think this is easier for you to understand and sort of implement. Instead of awareness, you want people to get to know who you are. And if you think about more of this as like a branding aspect, it's knowing why you're different and knowing really what your facility does, which is different to every other facility. Most people say to me then is particularly around like CrossFit gyms where there's 100 other CrossFit gyms in your city. Well, how am I different? How do I get them to know who I am? And it's stepping out away from CrossFit by not in the sense that we don't do CrossFit, but it's really focusing yourself to make sure that people understand that you're different from the other facility because you have, an extra good community. You have extra focus on the cardio side of things or the gymnastics side of things compared to the other facilities. You have some way of standing out and really standing for something, and you portray that in your social media, in the way you communicate on your website, etc. After they get to know who you are, they get to like you. They get to like the comments that you're putting out there, the content that you're putting out there, the type of things that you stand for. Hopping on your social media and just being generic doesn't get people up down to this stage. It doesn't get people to like you. They just found out who you are. But when you actually stand for something, they get to like what you're actually saying. They get to like your approach towards things, whether it's really intense workouts. People will start to see that, and your ideal customer will then go, "Yeah, that's what I'm after." After they get to like you, you then have to sort of build some trust with them. You have to get them to know that you're actually going to able to deliver on these results for them. So this is the know, like, and trust. Another way of sort of thinking about this in a more practical term is we start by educating. Google said a couple of years ago, obviously based on think about all the data of people searching on them, that advertising is dead, which is, a pretty confronting thing considering that most of Google's money comes from Google Ads. But what they said is that these days people don't want to see adverts; they want to be educated or entertained, and that's basically what you need to be doing. Anything you're putting out there, you're educating your ideal customers, not a generic person, but the exact people that you want to work with, or you're going to entertain them. You're going to give them some reason to want to watch just because it's interesting. Next, we're going to inspire them. We're going to inspire them to act. If we can inspire them, they get to like us. We inspire through doing things like testimonials. We inspire them through doing things like body transformations. We show what we're actually achieving. Maybe we show someone who, came in and couldn't do an air squat and now they're back squatting 100 kilos. It's inspirational. It gets people motivated into what you're actually achieving. And the final one is reassuring them that we have their best intentions at the heart. We're thinking about the customer. We're not thinking about ourselves and our own little business. We're putting things out there to make sure that they know they think of us as an authority figure in terms of our ability to achieve this. And I'll go into how we actually do that. So then what this actually looks like is traffic to your social media, traffic to your website, leads, people then being inspired to get in contact with you. And finally, once we've reassured them, that's when we get to the stage of actually being able to make a sale. Reassuring often happens over the phone or in person once people have actually got in contact with you. These are the principles of influence that you need to be thinking about. And if you haven't read the book, I think it's called Principles of Influence by Dr. Robert Cialdini. He wrote this book, and this is basically one of the, you could almost say, the Bibles around marketing, because so many people use it in the marketing realm. And he talks about these principles of influence and how they impact basically everyone, how everyone sort of gets, these are effective in getting us to perform actions. So reciprocity, giving someone something for free. When we educate them and we give them, something like a free video series on how to improve your back squat, we give them a free video series on improving your mobility, we give them a free video series on how to run 5K in under 25 minutes. Not only are we educating them, but we're giving them a huge amount of value that they didn't expect. And there's this thing inbuilt within us that we feel the need to reciprocate. It's why you see so many marketers and people that have funnels and everything set up giving things for free on the front end. Not only does it show that we're really good at what we do, but it gives them something so they feel the need to then get back in contact with us. It also builds the ability for them to like us. If we want to inspire people, we want to use the ability of social proof. Social proof is massive. Social proof is things like case studies or testimonials. It's actually hearing from people that what we do is working and is real. Social proof can happen in other ways. People can see your Instagram page and say, wow, these guys got 10,000 followers as a gym. They must be good at what they do. And that's social proof, working. From that simple fact, a lot of that gym can get a lot of traction, a lot of growth just because of the size of their page. But social proof is not that. It's hearing from other people that it's actually working. We're communal animals. We want to hear that it's actually working from, more than just yourself. The other way to inspire people is to show your authority. Talking just beforehand, Jess said she also works as an OT. She has an education base behind her. It wasn't just she decided to open up a facility and, let's help people. I don't really know what I'm doing. By being an authority figure on something, you're able to inspire them in a way that gives them the confidence that you're actually able to make that difference. So you want to inspire people, show some social proof and show some authority. Next is reassurance. Reassurance, the first step in making sure that you're able to reassure people is to be consistent. And I think a great example around this, particularly around fitness facilities, is to say, if you're really big on saying, we're really big on movement standards here, we want you moving well, we want you making sure that you not get injured, but then you're posting Instagram stories of people doing just really shit air squats. That's not consistency. You've broken that trust that you've inspired them with, and you've failed to reassure them in order to make a sale. So consistency is key here. Whatever you're really pushing in terms of what you stand for as a business, you need to make sure that you're consistent so you're able to reassure people in order to actually come through and be a member. And the final step is urgency, or people often refer to this as scarcity, which is giving some reason for people to act now. You'll know marketers commonly use the term a call to action, which is, hey, go do this now. And they've done this this is science has gone through and actually tested people and said, if you fail to actually ask people to act, people won't act. It's that simple. One of the most effective marketing tools that I've used for a business is to send out an email saying, hey, would you like to make a sale? That business got hundreds of thousands of sales overnight because they just asked. And sometimes we forget to think how simple it is. And we need to make sure that we're asking people, and we need to make sure that we give them a time frame to come and get this. So by putting some sort of time frame on it, we reduce their ability. People feel like they're going to miss out, and they come in and we're able to make a sale then and there, rather than 6 months down the line when we actually realize this is the thing that we should be doing. So the education, the reciprocity, the liking, that's the value. This means on social media, on your website, how you present to people, you provide value. The more value you give up the front, the more awareness you're going to get, the more people you're going to see gain traction with you, and that therefore the more members that are actually going to funnel down through your funnel in order to become members at the back end. And this is how we've sort of processed out a funnel. We give as much value as we can at the top so they can funnel down to the point where we have more people getting members. And that makes sense. If you have very few people actually seeing and liking what you do at the very top of a funnel, you have very few people understanding what you're doing in the marketplace, then you're not going to have a lot of members down the bottom, because, you know, the less and less people make their way down through actually knowing, liking, and trusting you. The final thing, which I try to sort of reiterate there, is what you do is not for everyone. And you need to make sure that you make a stance with what you're saying. It's for your members. You need to be very clear on who your member is and how you and what they're actually interested in. Because if you try and talk to everyone, you talk to no one. And that's personally, that's one of the biggest lessons that I had to find in marketing, is that if you want to really grow your business, you have to solve a specific problem for someone. And the more generic you are trying to be, the less you're actually talking to someone's needs and problems. The common saying around this is that the busier the market is, or the more competition you have, the more specific you need to be actually putting out there with what problem you're solving. I guess before I move on, has anyone got any questions around that?
I just want to jump in with a bit of a comment.
No,
Okay.
I can't hear you, Hannah, if you're talking.
How's that?
Still can't hear you.
And now?
No.
What? Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'll keep going.
I'll talk about it.
So we've gone through this: awareness, members. Now let's put some numbers on that. And this is how a common funnel actually works for businesses. So we've created everything. We're running some Facebook ads. We're running our regular social media, and we've got 1,000 people that have shown interest, or they've clicked on it, or they've actually seen our ad. So social media campaigns, etc. Then we have 200 people of that 1,000 that actually click onto our website. Although people see your content and they like it, they're not necessarily, obviously, and you see this all the time, how many people actually then go through and click on your website to find out more about you? It's a significantly smaller number. And that's fine. This is how a funnel works. It's a universal basic principle of how people interact with your business. Next, maybe half the people that actually hop on your website can be bothered to then go on, make sure that they leave details on your contact form and actually become a lead that you can then follow up with. Maybe those 100 people called your phone number to actually have a conversation with you. Of those 100 leads, maybe only 10 of them are actually at the stage where they're ready to become members there and then. And this is sort of how you need to start thinking about it, is that if you're getting a lot of people viewing your content, you're not going to have all of them make it all the way down to become our actual member. That's why we make sure, if we go back a couple slides to seeing how we educate and we inspire and we reassure, that's what each of those steps are doing it. They're trying to convince people to go down to the next step. They're trying to convince people to click on our website. The next step is we're trying to convince people to leave a contact form. Then we're trying to convince people that we're trying to inspire, reassure them to the stage that we can actually deliver on what they're actually looking for and become members. So after we've actually implemented a funnel in that sequence, we've set up a way of actually getting people to know, like, and trust us. We need to start looking at how can we increase the amount of people that are going to take those steps. And then once we've got people in the door, how are we actually going to increase their profitability? And this is a system I like to refer to as a profit ladder. A profit ladder is pretty simple. It's a number of steps that people take in order to interact with the products or services that you're offering in your business. So this is an example of a profit ladder where we have a free offer, a front-end offer, a core offer, and premium offers in our businesses. An example of a free offer is a trial. A front-end offer could be something like 21 days trial in your facility for $49. A core offer could be something like $195 a month membership, which is probably something similar to what a lot of you are actually running. And then a premium offer can be dependent on your business, but is often something like an upsell. It's something like doing a diet plan with their membership, etc. Could be personal training sessions. The idea of this is that we reduce friction by having a free or front-end offer. Too many people want people to go from, leaving a lead on your website or seeing you on social media to spending $195 a month or whatever your membership fee is. That's quite a large amount of money to a lot of people, and they're not willing to make that sort of commitment straight out the door. but you're able to make it easier on yourself, and you're able to make it easier on your prospective customers by reducing that friction. Giving them a free or front-end offer basically makes it easier to say yes. I don't know if you've heard of the Greek philosopher called Socrates. He was known for basically winning arguments by getting people to say yes to him. And what he did was start off by giving people questions they would say yes to. Are you willing to do this? Yes. Are you willing to do this? Yes. Psychologically, what that means, it's breaking down the steps to make it easier to make bigger commitments to us. And we basically can do that in marketing, which is we make it easier by saying, come in and trial it and see who we are. Make it easier by saying, don't have to commit straight away. Come in and trial us for 21 days for $50 and actually experience what we do. It makes it easier for the buyer to want to say yes and experience us, rather than trying to chuck them straight into the deep end and expecting them to just sign up to a membership straight away. And the premium offers are there for the point of being able to actually increase the profit per customer. As we talked about at the start, the average order value of your customer. How much people are actually spending with you. That if you're able to increase the amount of people that are using your premium offers, you decrease the amount of actual members that you need. And understanding the fact that not everyone will want to use premium offers, but if you can take a percentage, that can create large returns to your business, and is done through showing value above what your actual membership is. So an example of a front-end offer. If we were to run a front-end offer, which is 21 days for $49 for your facility, maybe that would look like we're running an October special and we spend $300 in Facebook ads. So we've set up our campaign and we've said for the month of October only, we're running this front-end offer where you can come in, do 21 days in our facility for only $49. It's not the full month, but it's a significantly reduced value. So it gives the people that were really sitting on the fence some incentive to really make that decision and come to us. After running our Facebook ads and a bit of campaign over the months leading up to October, we get 15 people to sign up. That's 15 people times, at $50 each for the 21 days, it's $735 in our business, minus the expense of things like Facebook ads. And we're there with $435 profit on the front end. These are people that may have never got to the stage of wanting to make that commitment to jump in and actually experience what we do. But you've made $435 to get people to make a commitment. So not only are you not losing money off potentially getting more people in the door, but you've made a way of actually making a small amount of money of getting more members. So you're making money by attracting more members, which is the complete opposite of what most people think about in terms of marketing. Most people think it's an expense they have to put out there in order to get someone to come through the door. In this sense, by doing something like this, we're able to get more people. Of those 15 registrations, maybe only 8 of them decide that what you're actually offering is what they're actually after, is what they're interested in, or your coaching and is in line with what they're looking for. And therefore you've got 8 new members now at $195 a month. So that's an example of what a front-end offer could actually look like and how you could implement that into your business, and how it's better than just trying to get people to jump into your regular memberships. Let's give an example of a core offer or a premium offer, which is maybe you decide to run a nutrition challenge for your members. Nutrition challenge is obviously added benefit. If people are already interested in their fitness, then nutrition is obviously a obvious choice to sort of go towards in terms of adding extra benefits to people. Because you're adding this to your existing members, there are no expenses. You don't have to run Facebook ads. You don't have to run Google ads. You don't have, having to expend a lot of time or money in terms of getting people on board. You're able just to bring it up. In this example, I just basically said, maybe what we're going to do is teach people the paleo diet or something. And then we're going to actually get them, into a system that we're going to teach them that. And over a 12-week period, get them to incorporate that and see the benefits. Say 30 of your members decide to do that. And I've seen this work, and we've actually implemented this with a business where we not only incorporated the nutrition challenge, but we worked with another business where we're able to include a DEXA scan before and afterwards. So not only was it beneficial in terms of, hey, we're going to teach you how to basically eat well and, get leaner for summer or whatever it is, we're also going to show you the results and how much that actually changes you by just eating differently. So that's just an added benefit of how you can add to what you're already currently offering. An example of this would be if you had 30 members at that price, that's $2,400. which is not a bad amount of money to just run something extra. $2,400 extra income to your business. You could run this 2 or 3 times a year. Another example of this is maybe we don't want to just do a small time thing, but we want to increase how much people are actually spending on the monthly basis, and we're keeping it recurring. So instead of just offering our core services, maybe if we're doing group classes, we want to now add a premium service, which is a similar sort of thing. Maybe we're doing diet, maybe it's personal training sessions, etc. This is what an example of a premium offer would be. Again, not everyone in your gym is going to want to do it, but you don't, because they're going to current members, you don't have to have an expense. Way we've done this in the past with businesses is by making sure that it's systemized as possible. When it's as systemized as possible, you reduce the amount of time that actually takes you to do it, which obviously is important when running a business, to not spend a huge amount of time doing these things. Say we get 50 members interested in doing this, 50 more members interested in having diet as a part of their current, part of what they're currently paying. And at $60 a month, you then make $3,000 extra a month, $36,000 increase in revenue. This is something that we've actually done with a fitness facility down in New South Wales. So, these are the examples of how you can not only make it easier for you to get people in your door while making money doing it, but then you're actually able to increase the amount people are spending with you, so you're increasing your revenue. And it's not in a negative way that I'm just trying to increase how much money my business is earning, because everyone here knows how much of an impact doing things like personal training sessions or diet plans, etc., can actually help people who don't have their head, really focused in on that. So the final step that I really want to talk about is some practical showcasing of how to implement this into your business and what these sort of looks like. Again, I wanted to reiterate what we talked about at the start. Which is, when we're doing these things, we really want to make sure that we're focusing on why we're different. We want to make sure that we're focusing on who our customers are and what front-end offer and what premium offers and what free offers would actually work for those specific customers, not to just, trying to be generic to everyone. Then setting up some sort of funnel and content to actually get people in the door. So this is what a funnel really looks like, a very basic funnel looks like in terms of actually implementing it. So this is what's known as a funnel map. And I basically want to show this as an example of how you might actually implement this in your business if you're doing one of these things. So some examples here, you can see maybe you're running some Facebook ads in order to attract new members. Your free offer here would be a guide. So that's an example of implementing the profit ladder and having a free guide. People obviously are interested in something that you're providing value with. As I sort of mentioned at the start, this guide could be anything from how to run 5K in under 25 minutes to, how to squat 120 kilos in the next 12 months, whatever it is, whatever you specialize in, create some sort of education value for people that they actually show interest in. By hopping on your website and being able to download it, you get a lead into your system. They can then get an email with actually downloading the guide. And what we can do is then set up a way of, once they've gone to a thank you page for downloading it, they get triggered a new set of Facebook ads. And as we sort of talked about before with the funnel, if we're talking about educating on the first step, then the next step we're looking to inspire. So that second Facebook ad might be some social proof, so some customer testimonials that you've filmed in your gym. Again, you can do this high-end with a videographer, or you can do this on your mobile phone and make it authentic to people, just saying, this is what I achieved with these guys. They changed how I was living my day-to-day life. It can be that simple. So because we know people took you up on your guide, we know they've got some interest in what you're selling. We can then make it very specific, get them inspired to then want to come with you and take on your free offer. This free offer then is the 21 days for $49. Once they've then done that, they've come in, they've made the purchase, you've got them in the system, then it's down to you to basically deliver your service to make sure that people want to stay on and actually become a member with you. But that's just a really quick example of how you make it easy to get more people into the front door that actually gets more people then to become members, rather than just trying to post regularly on social media and hoping that people then go from being, seeing you to just hoping that then they come to be members. So I hope that makes sense to people. This is a way of basically just making it easier and making the process simpler. Another example, you don't always have to give something for free. Straight away, you can run a Facebook campaign to, within a 10-kilometer radius of your gym using the front end offer to basically say, hey, people between these age who are interested in, who have, shown interest in these sort of, in fitness, whether it's your rehab or whether it's diets or, whatever it is specific to your business, give them this offer. And we can run a Facebook ad around that, which sends them in to basically leave a link where they're able to take you up on that front end offer. And that's what the Facebook ad's around. 21 days for $49. Again, we get more people that might not have seen us, or maybe they have seen us, but they haven't wanted to make that commitment. They see this limited time offer, as we talked about before, a bit of urgency. And you've now got a bunch of people who were aware of you, but hadn't actually made that commitment to want to actually reach out to you. You've now got them in your system. They've now spent some money with you, and you can then move them on to actually becoming a member. So that's sort of some really quick examples, and they're really simple examples of how we might take what we've basically just learned and actually implement it, which is take people from not being from awareness to members and actually implementing some sort of profit ladder in terms of making it easier for them to want to take steps with you, rather than just always going from, wanting people to go from hearing about us to becoming members. We make it easier by making the steps smaller and not as scary for someone who maybe is not convinced that you're the person just yet. And if you want, I've actually put together a bit of a guide from working with a number of facilities all around Australia. And if you go to adambarbro.com/fitbox, you can basically access what I believe from my experience is the 10 best strategies for growing gyms and studios. It's a guide of steps of things that I've seen actually work more effectively for gyms. And these aren't just digital strategies. It's not just run Facebook ads. These are strategies that you can implement offline down at your local cafe that can have significant improvement to the number of members that you can implement. You can actually, oh, my throat's going dry. Number of members that you can actually get into your business.
All right, Adam, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Sorry about that. If you wouldn't mind just looking back to the previous slides, and I just wanted to ask, and that maybe some people might be wondering, in terms of this workflow, there's obviously tools that are best set up to help you enable this. Like, this doesn't need to be a manual process as such, does it? Could you maybe
100%. So these, if you implement these correctly, and if we go back to this, as I mentioned at the start, the reason we focus on brand and strategy and then set up funnels first before we then just look at running a Facebook ad or creating a video is because when we focus on those lower things first, we're able to set things up to be automated. And my idea around if I go back to a profit ladder, my general advice towards people that are implementing a profit ladder is that your free and front end offers should take no time out of your day. They should be running automatically. If you're running a campaign on Facebook to get people, as I gave an example in the next slides, around a 21-day, $49 offer, that should take zero time out of your day. Because if you're spending time working hard on your front-end offer, you're not spending time on getting people into your core and premium offers, which is really where you're going to make your increase in revenue. So the less money that you're making off something, the less time you should be spending on it. And this is how we set up marketing systems. We set up to make sure that the more time you're spending, i.e. the premium offers, if you're running a PT session, you're running a PT session because you're earning more money for that hour than you would working in a group class, or you would working, on something else. That's why they're premium offers. Your time is valuable, particularly as business owners, your time is valuable. So we only spend actual time working with people when it's for our benefit, when we actually are earning the money on those premium offers. On front-end offers, we want to spend very little or no time to actually implement them because they're only worth a small amount of money. The purpose of them is to make it easier for customers to come in the door. And the purpose of them is to, unlike most marketing, is to actually make a little bit of money from getting people in the door, which is what most people can't or don't do. Does that answer it?
Awesome, thank you.
And systems, yeah, so systems around that. So if we go here, let's go to the funnel map examples. I recommend for anyone, basically, regardless of your business, with the tools that are out there at the moment, you should have some sort of CRM. You should have some sort of ability to be able to collect emails and contact details of people that are current members, have been past members, and people that have hopped on, left contact details to get some sort of free asset. I can go into a lot of reasons why that's important in terms of, I guess, future-proofing a business as well as doing it now. But the two most important things are social media platforms and algorithms on these social media platforms change all the time, which basically means if you're relying on people because you have a social media following and you're relying on people seeing your posts, tomorrow Instagram can decide we're not showing posts unless it's, a video between, a minute and 2 minutes long because we want to take on TikTok. And Instagram's actually doing this. Instagram came out like a couple months ago and said, we're a video platform now. They said, we're not a photo platform. We're not a carousel platform. They came out and said, we're a video platform. And we've seen in the past, Google and other things just change their algorithm, and all of a sudden people disappear off the front page. So if you don't actually own your audience, you don't have a list of who they are, you at any stage, they could just disappear and you can't get in contact with them. So I always recommend, for the first reason, of having that list. The second reason I say have that list is because your ability to actually contact people because of these tools is significantly increased if you have access to that list. So Facebook, for example, you can upload your emails of all your current customers and say, Facebook, find me more people like this. For example, Jess, within 10 kilometers of my gym, find me more people like these. And the amount of data that Facebook has can basically say, okay, I know people that are exactly like those people that you've given me information for. I'll go find you more people like that. And you can only pay for ads going out to people that look exactly like your current members. So not only is that ridiculously powerful in terms of targeting, but now we're talking about running Facebook ads that have very little cost to be hyper targeted towards your exact current client base. And nothing's more powerful than that. And that's where the power of these things come from. So my first one is to get some sort of CRM, get some sort of way of keeping your customer list so you can have that for the future. Then I guess the other systems that we can have here are things like having a good website where you're able to create your own landing pages, whether you have a website developer that does that, or whether you use a WordPress website which has a page builder or something that you can implement these things. You can implement like a landing page for people to download these free guides, etc. Having access to that will basically dramatically decrease the cost you're spending on getting people in the door.
That would be remiss of me if I just happen to skip over in this moment the fact that fitbox, of course,
sites
sounds like to use a Zapier integration for this purpose. So part of one of our functions and why we built it in, because we recognize that it's pretty key to have prospective inquiries landing in a place where you can keep that information. So that's one of the reasons why we use a Zapier integration. And we recommend ActiveCampaign as a platform that we use ourselves for capturing that information.
ActiveCampaign's ridiculously powerful.
Exactly that, yeah. So where you see these little stops in the timeline here where it says lead, add tag, wait 3 days, these are all functions that are built into those kind of platforms. So definitely worth your time having a look at those and seeing what value that could bring for your strategy as well.
Yeah, and I'll sort of say here, like these are very simple examples, but if you guys are experts in your field, so you're able to give advice on these sort of things. Maybe once people hop on and get your free guide, you can have an email sequence built out there. I'm sure you're aware of these. You get them when you sign up to something on some sort of website or register. And most people do it wrong because they try and sell to you. The people that I work with in my personal automated campaigns coming from ActiveCampaign is I wait 3 days and I give them something of a ridiculous value, give them something that people would almost pay for. And if you can give that, all you're doing is just building, as I talked about before, reciprocity. You're building these relationships with these people. So when they make the decision they want to come work with someone, they're not going to go to someone else because you've been giving them all this value and incredible knowledge from day one.
Absolutely. Hey guys, I just want to call out quickly as well. I know we started a little late today. If anyone does need to jump off, by all means, feel free. We will still have a full recording up on the portal, but I'm enjoying the session. I'm sticking around. Adam, I'm sure you've still got a bit more to give us.
Well, that's really what I wanted to talk about today. That was the meat and crux of how you need to start implementing your marketing for your facility. So we need to stop thinking about getting people to just make sales. This is basically what marketers do. They come up with ideas to make it easier for people to show interest in us. We make it easier for them to want to spend some money with us. And then we come up with systems and ways, and we make this as automatic as possible to make sure that people stick around and they continue spending money with us. As long as we've got a good service, we're providing good value, this is definitely achievable. And that's sort of how we need to, as business owners, start thinking about it and changing the conversation that we're thinking about things from making sales to how can we provide as much value as frequently and often as possible on the front end. And if we can do things like a front end offer that we make some money in those ways, then we make it easier on ourselves by getting more members into the door.
Brilliant. Sounds amazing. Yeah. Any questions, guys? This is where you get to attack Adam's wonderful, experienced brain. He's obviously worked with many fitness brands. If you have any specific questions to your business, by all means, jump in.